Happy Monday morning, everybody. Welcome into another week of Morning JOX here on JOX. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell here with you until 7 o'clock each and every weekday. And this is a very special week indeed as we are live from the College Football Hall of Fame here in Atlanta, Georgia, which means only one thing, Damian, that it is SEC Media Days and the official kickoff of college football season. So I'm excited. I'm sure you're excited, Damian, and hopefully we're going to have a great week out here for all of our wonderful listeners.
You know it, man. It's for us, it is the start of college football season. It's the last bit of talking season before we get into that little bit of a lull before training camp. But I think that Atlanta, there are a lot of SEC storylines that have kind of hit the news the past couple months in the offseason, and now we get a chance to talk to these coaches and see what they got to say about a lot of these things, and I think it'll be an interesting week.
Absolutely. A lot for us to learn. I think we know a lot of things that are going to be a big talking point this week, including the future of the college football playoff, NIL, the House settlement, similar to what we saw last week at Big 12 Media Days, where a lot of those topics were kind of the hot topics there. But today, just to set the scene for you here, we are in the College Football Hall of Fame. You can watch us live on YouTube at JOX 94.5 TV. And we will be broadcasting here all week. But to get us started today at 8:05 Central Time, so back there in Birmingham, you're going to get Commissioner Greg Sankey. He's going to kick everything off with his address on the state of the conference, as is tradition. So that'll get underway at 8:05. Then the first coach you're going to have up today is going to be Brian Kelly from LSU. That's going to be at 9:25. Then Shane Beamer from South Carolina, a team with obviously much higher expectations this year than in the last recent few years. But Shane Beamer, he's going to go at 10:45 today. Then you're going to have one of our favorites, I think, Damian, Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. He's going at 12:30 today, and then you're going to have Clark Lee for Vanderbilt at 2:20. So that's your lineup for the day. Commissioner Sankey, Brian Kelly, Shane Beamer, Lane Kiffin, and Clark Lee. So a pretty good way to start things off here. And for you, Damian, so just out of when I tell you the coaches that are going to be here today, who stands out to you as you are the most excited to hear from? Because I'll be completely honest with you. I know this is a maybe a bizarre thing to say, but one of the people I'm most excited to hear from today is definitely Vanderbilt and Diego Pavia.
Yeah, I know you have some personal vendettas that you need to get off, and I understand that you're excited to hear what Clark Lee, because you laughed at him a couple years ago when he said he was building Vanderbilt into one of the best programs in college football, not just the SEC. And what all he did was go out and find a way to beat the number one ranked Alabama Crimson Tide at that time. But also, I'm ready to hear from Shane Beamer, because now he's kind of played that underdog role for so long. And now this season, there's some real expectations with this team. I think he caught a lot of people by surprise, and we usually know that he comes out when he has his opening statement. It can range from either 5 seconds to 5 minutes, and he'll just go on and talk about his program. But I think now this season specifically, when they have with Lenore Sellers coming back, and just the expectation with South Carolina having a true target on their back, I wonder how he I wonder how he answers the questions of, what's it going to look like for this South Carolina team, knowing that you're not sneaking up on anybody anymore. So I'm interested to hear what he has to say to start things off in SEC Media Days.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, and it's a really solid lineup today to get things started off. If you find yourself wondering, when are we going to hear from Hugh Freeze and Kalen DeBoer here in the state of Alabama? Well, Hugh Freeze is going tomorrow, and Kalen DeBoer is on Wednesday. So Tuesday will be Auburn Day, Wednesday will be Alabama Day, and of course we will have full wall-to-wall coverage here on JOX. But I think the thing that just kind of trying to set the scene for everybody, so when you go to something like SEC Media Days and you first get to the hotel, Damian, because you've done it before, but there's kind of just this energy that goes around, and everybody, you're either looking around and meeting people or talking to people within the business, or you've got the other people that just happen to be staying at that hotel at a certain time, and they're going, oh, so what are you here for? And everyone just kind of gives you this look of, oh, you're here for SEC Media Days, and that's what's going on. So yesterday, we get here to the hotel, Damian, and we're walking around, and we realized very quickly that we were outnumbered. And what we did not realize is that apparently Beyonce is currently in the middle of a 4-concert whatever here in Atlanta. And so she played on Thursday and Friday. She played last night. She's playing again tonight. And for all of the media members that are here, I think there's 10 Beyonce fans for every one media member.
So it's There's a lot of action going on in Atlanta. You got the MLB All-Star Game now that we know that Beyonce has one last night there in Atlanta. We got SEC Media Days. Do you think that any of the coaches from today are going to jam out to some Beyonce later on tonight? Brian Kelly kind of strikes me as a Beyonce guy.
Yeah, I could see BK doing that. I think Shane Beamer, as we've seen, obviously with the the famous TikTok video from a couple of years ago and things like that would see it. But I would look at Lane, right? We know Lane's he's a Swiftie, right? He loves Taylor Swift, and if anybody was going to go to a Beyonce concert while they were at SEC Media Days and just kind of make an event out of it, I think it would be Lane Kiffin that would be the one you would see going to see Beyonce. I will say this. Didn't see a lot of media members that were going to Beyonce, so as a little bit of a different crowd here. But it was just wild to see walking out on the street last night and getting to see. I mean, you have people selling cowboy hats on the side of the road. You have people selling bottles of water, Gatorade, things like that. So it was just kind of wild to see. But it's just one of those reminders of, man, we're so excited for media days, and you forget that there's other things going on in the world as well, like Beyonce.
It's a unique position to be in, Conrad. Any look as far as you getting a chance to go into the All-Star game or potentially the home run derby these next couple days?
We're still trying to twist Barrett Salih's arm a little bit and see if something will come to fruition. But we'll see. We're crossing our fingers and hoping that something might happen there. Landrum, do you have an update for us on our festivities?
No, I did want to update. I just want everybody in Birmingham and our listening audience to get the mental picture. Yesterday when the Beehive was out, we're walking into the lobby of the Omni yesterday. I picture a guy who looks like Damien but skinnier. He's taller. He's wearing chaps. He's wearing denim chaps, and he's got tidy whities on with cow print. White leather boots.
That wasn't Damien?
That are frayed.
No,
it
it
kind of
wasn't.
looked like Damien. It looked like something that Damien would wear on I Love Maplesville Day.
I love Naples.
Is that a thing?
It's not, but
It's
it
going to
could
be now.
I don't know. and
absolutely
it smelled like as the guy in his group were walking past us. It took me back to flashbacks of Christmas and having to shop at Sephora.
Okay.
There's your picture of the morning.
And when you, it's funny too because when you walk right into the hotel, as Clark Lee walks right behind us here, but you would walk into the hotel yesterday and they had a cutout of Beyonce. They had a red carpet rolled out for a Beyonce cutout, and people were going to get their pictures taken with it. So
That was a real thing.
Yeah, that was a very real thing. So obviously a lot going on here. I know WWE's having an event as well. So just about everything you could imagine going on in Atlanta right now. As Pat was enjoying all of the festivities yesterday. Weren't you,
That was
Pat?
fantastic.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, the people watching's undefeated.
Oh, it was when we were going to that event last night, just walking across the street,
Yeah.
seeing everybody trying to get to wrestling, watching the wrestling fans merge with the Beyonce fans was, man,
It sounds like a treat.
what a time to be alive.
The only thing we were missing was a protest.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them maybe just came.
Is that a fair statement?
I'm sure if you'd have looked over in Centennial Park, you might have found one.
I'm trying to find us a good protest this morning.
So everything, a lot going on here this week in Atlanta. We are excited to bring you full coverage of SEC Media Days here. So again, a recap if you're just now joining us this morning. The schedule for today, day one, we're going to get started here in a little under 2 hours. So at 8:05, you're going to get Commissioner Sankey. He's going to kick things off for us here from the College Football Hall of Fame. Then Brian Kelly of LSU, he will go at 9:25 Central Time. Shane Beamer follows that at 10:45. Lane Kiffin will go at 12:30, and Clark Lee of Vanderbilt will go at 2:20. So that is kind of your schedule for day one of SEC Media Days. We're excited to broadcast live from the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta. But there were also a lot of things that went on over the weekend, Damien, and as you mentioned earlier, we do have All-Star Week coming up here in Atlanta as well. So a lot to get to from the weekend. Unfortunately, some bad news for teams around the state, but we will fill you in on everything you missed over the weekend next on Morning JOX. 6:14 here on your Monday morning. Morning JOX. Conrad and Damien here with you as we are broadcasting live from SEC Media Days in Atlanta, Georgia, as Pat Smith and Landrum Roberts alongside me as we get everything kicked off here from Atlanta. So again, if you're just now joining us, we will be here until Thursday for the full access of SEC Media Days. Tomorrow you're going to get Hugh Freeze, head coach of the Auburn Tigers. Wednesday you're going to get Kalen DeBoer of the Alabama Crimson Tide. And today you are going to get Brian Kelly, Lane Kiffin, Shane Beamer, and Clark Lee, as well as Commissioner Greg Sankey, who will kick all of this off for us in just under 2 hours here live in Atlanta, Georgia. But there were a lot of things that went on over the weekend, Damian. And unfortunately, there was one piece of news that I know Auburn fans, you certainly don't want to see this, and we hope that this is a one-time incident and not something that we are talking about again in the future. But that would be, unfortunately, the news that Tahad Pettiford, the Auburn basketball star, he was arrested for a DUI over the weekend. Bruce Pearl and Tahad Pettiford both already going out and making statements on the situation. So Bruce Pearl, he went on and his statement read, quote, "We are aware of the situation. We will handle internally with Tahad and his family. We take these matters seriously and will learn and grow from it moving forward," end quote. You could also go and see where Tahad Pettiford himself, he went on Instagram and posted on his Instagram story the other night a pretty long caption, and this is how it read, quote, "Last night I made a serious mistake and one that I take full responsibility for. My actions put myself and others at risk, and for that I'm deeply sorry. There is no excuse. To my family, teammates, coaches, and fans, I know that I've let you down. I understand the disappointment and concern that this has caused, and I want you to know that I'm taking this seriously. This is not who I am and not who I will be. I'm committed to learning from this moment and making meaningful, positive changes in my life. I'm grateful for the support and accountability of those around me, and I will work to earn back the trust I've lost," end quote. So all things considered, again, not what you want to hear, especially from an Auburn basketball star and someone that we all know has, really all the potential in the world, is going to be a big part of what Bruce Pearl wants to do this year. But, again, I think we can agree, Damian, the basketball stuff is important, but at the end of the day, you just hope that this is a one-time mistake and something that he can learn from, and hopefully this isn't something we're talking about again in the future.
Right, and I think for Tahad, coming out, addressing it head on, he's like, hey, I made a mistake. I know the seriousness of it. That's all that matters. The best thing for him now is just make sure you correct those things, that we don't have to have the same conversation in the future. And I think, he seems like a very well-rounded guy. This is just a bump in the road, blip on the radar. We move on. He's addressed it. The only person that needs to, handle these things are Bruce Pearl and him, and both of them have had conversations. And moving forward, shouldn't have another issue with Tahad Pettiford.
Absolutely. I think you said that perfectly there. So, so Tahad Pettiford arrested on a DUI, but him and Bruce Pearl already making statements, and hopefully, again, that will kind of be that there. You also had some news yesterday from the SEC, as well as you had a former LSU. You have a Texas A&M running back who was also arrested, and again, not to make light of the situation, but this is not the first time that right before media days we've had an incident with a Texas A&M player, but he was arrested on a disorderly conduct charge in College Station over the weekend, so still waiting on official word there, but a little bit of news around SEC football country. Well, you mentioned it earlier on in the show, Damian, and there is something else going on. We know SEC Media Days is going on. We know Beyonce's here now. We didn't know that before, but now we know. But you also have the All-Star Game that's going to be going on at Truist Park this week. So you're going to have the Home Run Derby, which will be taking place later on today. Then you're going to have the All-Star Game that is taking place tomorrow. You also had the Major League Baseball Draft, which was underway yesterday. And in a bit of a surprise, you did not have Cade Anderson from LSU, who was the number 1 overall pick. You actually had Eli Willits, a shortstop, from the high school ranks, who was the first overall pick of the Washington Nationals. Of course, Cade Anderson would ultimately end up going 3rd overall to the Mariners. But you had, Damian, your Cincinnati Reds making a very interesting pick. If anybody missed it, number 9 overall, the Cincinnati Reds took a shortstop by the name of Steele Hall, who many of you may know as the Hewitt-Trussville shortstop. So a little bit of local flavor for your Cincinnati Reds there, Damian.
Absolutely. He loves the color red, obviously. And,
obviously.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've heard Pat, I haven't got a chance to see him with my own 2 eyes, but Pat has, spoken very highly of him. And I think he can add some benefit in the future for our organization. I think that the Cincinnati Reds, we're doing all right. I will say that.
Yeah, y'all definitely you're making steps in the right direction.
Exactly.
And that's what's important at the end of the day. So, quick recap here: you did have number 1 overall Eli Willett, shortstop from Oklahoma. He goes to the Nationals. Second overall, you had Tyler Bremner, a pitcher from UC Santa Barbara. I think that was maybe the bigger shock. Even was that Cade Anderson wasn't the first pitcher taken, but he would be the second because he went third overall to the Mariners, the stud pitcher from LSU. Then you had, I wonder if he's going to keep pumping these out, Damian, but you had Matt Holliday's other kid. So Jackson Holliday, his son, was the number 1 pick a couple of years ago. Now his other son, Ethan Holliday, he was the number 4 overall pick. He is a third baseman out of Oklahoma there from the high school ranks. So very cool there for Matt Holliday and his family. You have Liam Doyle, who many of us remember from Tennessee and Ole Miss before that, but he was the SEC Pitcher of the Year this year. He goes to Pat's St. Louis Cardinals with the 5th overall pick. I know you're a big Tennessee guy, Damian, so I know you were excited to see that last night.
Jumping for joy. You know me. Huge Tennessee baseball guy. The biggest.
The biggest. That's absolutely right. As I mentioned, Steele Hall from Hewitt-Trussville, he goes 9th overall, the shortstop, to the Cincinnati Reds. Let's see, just going down here quickly. You had Gavin Killen, the shortstop from Tennessee. He goes 13th overall to the San Francisco Giants. You had Witherspoon, Kyson Witherspoon, the pitcher for Oklahoma. He goes 15th overall to the Boston Red Sox. Let's see, a little bit more from the SEC. Oh, Ike Irish, that's right. Ike Irish, the outstanding outfielder and catcher for the Auburn Tigers this year. He goes 19th overall to the Baltimore Orioles. You had Andrew Fisher from Tennessee, first baseman. He goes 20th to the Milwaukee Brewers. So as you can see, and no surprise, right, there's a lot of SEC flavor here here to go around the MLB draft. You also had Jace LaViolette from the center fielder from Texas A&M. He goes 27th overall to the Cleveland Guardians. And somebody that I know a lot of us were excited about was Riley Quick, the pitcher from Alabama, but formerly from Hewitt-Trussville, just like Steele Hall. He goes 36th overall to the Minnesota Twins. So he was the first player off the board for Alabama yesterday, as he goes just after the first round there to Minnesota. And then finally, Wahiwa Eloy, the shortstop for Arkansas, who was the Golden Spikes winner this year. He actually goes 31st overall last night to the Baltimore Orioles. So a good day for Baltimore. They got 2 good SEC players there, in Eloy from Arkansas and Ike Irish from the Auburn Tigers. But you do also have the Home Run Derby coming up tonight, as I mentioned. And unfortunately for Braves fans, I know a lot of you probably excited to see Ronald Acuna in action and hitting some big bombs at Truist this week. But he has taken himself out of the Home Run Derby, Damian, due to some, I believe it's back tightness. But the good news is that Ronald Acuna is out and Matt Olson is in. So you are still going to get a little Atlanta Braves flavor there at the Home Run Derby, as they will represent for their home city. So it should be a lot of fun there, Damian, and I'm still holding my crossing my fingers. I know Pat and Landrum are hoping to attend. I still want to be one of the little kids out there shagging fly balls in the outfield. That's still my dream.
Right, but would you still be excited if you just got a ticket?
Oh,
like,
well, yeah,
would you be able to keep your composure, not run on the field or anything, and still the shine and still the show from those batters there in that Home Run Derby?
Yeah, you know what? I think I would contain myself. I'm not gonna lie. We are so where we're set up at media days, and I brought this up on Friday. But where we're set up at media days, there's a lot of people that have to come through where we are, because we have the stairs from the first floor of the College Football Hall of Fame. We also have the elevators right in front of us. So if Aaron Judge does decide that he wants to come up here and reunite with Kalen DeBoer, since they're both Fresno State boys, I will be front and center to see that happen, and I will absolutely lose my mind. So I'm still crossing my fingers. I'm sure he's listening right now, Mr. Judge. But yeah, we'll see how that if that comes to fruition.
You're kind of on the edge this week. The more I think about it, get a chance to run into Kalen DeBoer, as me and you, big Alabama guys. Aaron Judge possibly may run by, and then you have John Mateer. Like you got to control yourself, brother. Remember that you had a job to do.
If yeah, I will certainly do my best. And you know what? The best part of all of this is they have so they've added a little bit to the College Football Hall of Fame, put in some new pieces of memorabilia and things like that. And I'm assuming this is going to be from this past season, but we are next to the brand new Travis Hunter display
that
they have here with his jersey, helmet, cleats. I'm assuming from last year in his Heisman Trophy year there at Colorado. So Landrum was very excited about that. Don't think he's going to be making an appearance, but Jacksonville's not that far away, right?
Not at all. Just a quick trip, quick flight. You can be back and be ready for three-man front.
That's absolutely right. Yeah. So maybe Travis Hunter will show up. I don't think that's going to happen, but we are right next to his his display here at the College Football Hall of Fame, where we will be broadcasting all week long. Well, one thing that we will do later in the week, Damien, as we know, is we will vote on not only predicted order of finish, we will vote for our all SEC teams beforehand. So I wanted to kind of pick your brain here coming up and get some of your thoughts. How do you think the media is going to vote? What do you think the predicted order of finish is going to be? Because I've started to see, some other media members put out their lists, and I will just say this. Not everyone is just picking Texas and Georgia in the top two, and I think we might be in for a little bit of a surprise later in the week. So we'll see about how all of that goes. But we'll take a quick break, come back here, continue our live coverage from SEC Media Days, and we will break down some of those media predictions. Where do we think Alabama will finish? Where do we think Auburn will finish? What about Ty Simpson, Jackson Arnold, and some of those other guys? Who do we think will represent the SEC on those all-SEC teams here at Media Days? That's coming up next here on JOX, live from SEC Media Days. Welcome back into Morning Jocks here. Conrad and Damien with you until 7 a.m. when we hand you off to McElroy and Kublick in the morning. We are broadcasting here live from the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, Georgia. And the reason that we do that, of course, is for SEC Media Days, which is getting underway today. We will have live coverage for you up until Thursday, which is the final day of SEC Media Days. And if you're just now joining us, you're going to get Hugh Freeze tomorrow and the Auburn contingent. They will be here on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday is when you will get to hear from Kalen DeBoer as well as some of the Alabama football players. So very excited to hear what they have to say, but we also have a great day coming up today, as well as Commissioner Greg Sankey will get things started off for us here in about an hour and a half or so, as he's set to take the podium at 8:05 Central Time to kick things off here for SEC Media Days. Then you're going to have Brian Kelly, you're going to have Shane Beamer, you're going to have Lane Kiffin, and you're going to have Clark Lee from Vanderbilt. That will be day one here from SEC Media Days. I did also quickly want to mention, I know we were just talking a little bit about the MLB draft. If you're just now joining us, Ike Irish from Auburn, he goes 19th overall to the Orioles. He's the first Auburn player off the board. Then you have Riley Quick, the pitcher from Alabama, from Hewitt-Trussville. He goes to the Twins as well, a little bit after Ike Irish. And you had Steele Hall, the shortstop from Hewitt-Trussville, Alabama. He goes top 10. He goes 9th overall to the Cincinnati Reds yesterday. So some local flavor in the MLB draft yesterday as well. But, Damien, I wanted to kind of break down some of these predictions and the media vote and things that we're going to get into later in the week here from Atlanta, because, everybody still – I feel like we have a general idea of how people are going to vote. But, I mean, to be fair, there are things you can learn. And certainly when it comes to, meeting certain players here at SEC Media Days and guys you kind of – you meet them in person, you start to go – I think you might have a little juice. There might be a little something to this. So I'm interested from your perspective. We'll start just with the conference overall. And I think most people would tell you they expect it's going to be Texas 1, Georgia 2, Alabama 3, and LSU 4. Is that how you see it right now, Damien? Do you think it's going to be something different than that? Would you vote differently than that? Because I think that's kind of the consensus as it stands right now.
Yeah, I look at it a little bit different, because I'm not necessarily just sold on Georgia aspect of it. I think Georgia's probably, when it comes to the powers of the SEC, they're probably the one I have the most question marks about, because of, now Carson Beck is gone. Is it a better situation now with Gunnar Stockton? Now, we have seen good play from Gunnar in big time moments, but they still ended up losing the ball game. Now it's tough to just put your second string quarterback in the SEC championship and then the first game of the college football playoff and expect him to go out there and will you to victory. But it's still there's still some lingering question marks at the wide receiver position. I do think the addition of Zachariah Branch and Noah Thomas and those guys does Dylan Bell to get that, take that next step. But it still warrants a question mark. And again, with Texas as well, is Arch just plug and play with Stark's system and replacing in Quinn Ewers? Because we saw moments last year where it's like, okay, well, if he puts it together, he could be pretty good. but also there were some young guy moments, and it's okay. Well, now you have the keys to a Ferrari. Can you drive it and keep it on the road for us? I think that Alabama wins the SEC. I've gone on record and said it, the past couple days that I believe what Alabama is starting to do now is get their swagger back, get their identity back, and it's just it looks a little different because it's Kalen DeBoer on the other side. But I think it's more of a faster – the way I've described Alabama in the conversations that I've had, it's a fast-paced, joyless murder ball where instead of holding opponents to, 10, 15 points, they may go out there and hang 70 on the best of them. I think offensively – what Kalen DeBoer, everybody knows what Kalen DeBoer's offense is supposed to look like, and if the offensive line is like, okay, we want to road grade a couple times, like we want to, let's go in 4-minute offense and let's ground and pound this thing because we've been lighting it up all over the yard. I think the development of Ty Simpson at quarterback has, it kind of depends on that as well, but I think that he won't have the same issues that we saw with Jalen Milroe. So when I look at those three teams, they're at the top. I think the next tier is kind of the LSUs, the Ole Misses of the world, because I think with LSU, it's the defense has been so bad the past couple seasons. It's, okay, when are they really going to turn the direction on that side? Because you're returning Garrett Nussmeier, who's played a lot in this system. We know what he can do offensively, but he also turns the ball over at a higher rate than a lot of other people. So I think that a lot of these teams have question marks. And going into Ole Miss, too, is Ole Miss just going to continue to roll on offense? Because you kind of wasted the best defense that you had last year. Can they replicate that or get somewhere close to that, or is Lane going to revert back to trying to score 50 the fast way? So I think a lot of these teams have a lot of question marks, but I think we'll have a lot, at least in the media side of things. I think we'll see Texas, Georgia, Alabama. There may be a sprinkle of a few LSUs, but those top three teams, I do think in some form or fashion will be in everybody's SEC predicted order of finish at the top.
So is it going to be really difficult for you to root for a team this season that you have not picked to win the SEC? Because if you don't pick to be an Alabama fan, which I'm just saying, it kind of sounds like it's trending that way. Don't want to put words in your mouth, but that would be tough, man. If you picked another school and you just had to sit there and you're actively rooting against them because you need Alabama, so your prediction comes.
Listen, there's a separation between fandom and professionalism.
Okay.
I can remove my crimson colored glasses, unlike you, Conrad. I can look at.
I'm not the one that just picked him to win the SEC.
I'm just saying, I can differentiate my fandom and put my heart and pride to the side and actually do my job, what I'm paid to do.
I know. I just I love to give you a hard time about that. Okay, so with that expectation, because I'm with you, right? I think that right now it would be hard for me not to pick or to vote Texas. I think just based on paper, again, we haven't seen any of these teams play, but on paper, a lot of these teams do have question marks, which you brought up, and so I think Texas is maybe the surest bet in terms of, especially if we're just talking about getting back to a college football playoff. I feel pretty confident in that one, but I'm very interested to see how the media, if Georgia holds on to that 2 spot, how much love Alabama maybe gets there, because I don't think there's any chance you're going to see them finish first, but I think you will see a lot of love for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And then, like you said, there's just kind of that second tier, which again, when you go into that again, not to go into a college football playoff, tangent necessarily, but when we talk about, hey, why is the SEC the best conference? When we're talking about these negotiations and automatic qualifiers, it's because you go through the Big Ten, right? You got your Ohio State, your Penn State, and your Oregon, and then you get to that second tier, and you have, your Michigans, your Illinois, those teams that we think are going to be pretty good. But when you're in the SEC and your second tier is LSU and Ole Miss, who may end up being 2 of the best teams in the entire country, South Carolina, you throw them in there as well. It just kind of shows you how deep this conference ultimately is. So I want to get your thoughts on, so you have Alabama winning the SEC. Do you already have a feel for who they might be meeting up with in Atlanta? Do you want to, kind of hold that prediction as well? I just didn't know, since you feel pretty good about Alabama, if you have a strong feeling on who they would be playing in Atlanta.
Yeah, I think they'll be playing the Texas Longhorns in Atlanta, of all things.
Okay.
I'm
Revenge
again
from a couple years ago. All right.
Yeah, and I think that for Texas at least, I think Arch Manning is the guy, but it's more of a, can he prove it? I'm in the boat that, yes, the potential is through the absolute roof because he comes from a pedigree of playing the quarterback position at a high level with at least one of his uncles. Now, the other one you can have a debate about, but, it is what it is. But I think that for Texas and all the pieces that they have and what Steve Sarkisian has been able to build up there in his short time being in Austin, that this is where they are now. Like this is where the leather meets the road for Texas. It's eventually they will get over the top, but they're always going to be in the conversation from now moving forward. At least that's how I look at Steve Sarkisian-led Texas team moving forward. Even when they were on the last stretch of the Big 12, I think that their adjustment coming to the SEC last season kind of showed that, yeah, we belong. Like, we belonged in here. We've belonged in here for a while, but I think now with you look at everything they've been able to do as far as recruiting and then the transfer portal, like Texas has become a destination. But I do think that I look at it from this perspective that I have the question marks I have for Georgia and the Ole Misses and South Carolina's, the LSU's, I don't necessarily have them for the Alabama and Texas of the world. Now, another team I really have a conversation about is Oklahoma, because I do think they are going to be improved, but they're going to have to knock off some pretty important teams on their schedule. Yeah, like their schedule just doesn't align. I think they'll look better, but it's still kind of, okay, yeah, if you tell me they only have 2 SEC wins, I'm like, oh, yeah, but were they close in the rest of them? Because, last season we had a couple games where it's like, yeah, Oklahoma does not belong on the field with some of these teams. But I do think what Brent Venables and those guys are going to build up kind of puts them in a good situation. And same with Auburn. Auburn is kind of people can tell me that they're going to win 9 games, and I could somewhat believe them. You could tell me they're going to win 7 games, and I could somewhat believe them. They're probably the biggest question mark outside of Missouri, but I think Missouri's kind of just – I'm not expecting them to be in contention.
Yeah.
But for Auburn, it's – yeah, if they reach the potential that they have on paper, they could also be in this conversation. But also if they don't, they're back into that middle of the pack, bottom tier of the conference.
So tomorrow, because Texas will be here tomorrow, Steve Sarkisian, Arch Manning, and the rest of that contingent – all right, if these two people walk in at the same time, I'm talking media days. I'm not talking like on the street because I think we know how this would go. But at media days here in the College Football Hall of Fame, all right, if Arch Manning and Beyonce walked in at the exact same time, Damian, who gets more attention from the media?
Don't be disrespectful to the Queen.
I'm not,
listen,
and I'm not.
listen,
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like Arch. I mean that's football royalty.
Yes.
And with the media, I'm just saying.
But it's still Beyonce. Dog.
I know.
It's still Beyonce. It would take Eli, Peyton, Archie, and Arch. It would take the entire Manning family to even get into the stratosphere of when it comes to popularity with Beyonce. If she walks into a room, I'd
still take Beyonce over the whole Manning family probably. But it would. Yeah, I just think that'd be an interesting exercise, right? Of who. All right, what's important? Are you going to go after the guy for your job and get the great interview, or are you going to go talk to Beyonce? And let's be honest, if I can go talk to Beyonce,
it depends on who you talk to. Like if you were to pull, Mark Stoops or Sam Pittman to the side, and you put Arch and Beyonce in front of them, and you say like, which one do you think is more popular? They would both know exactly who Arch is, but they'll probably hesitate a little bit because they just don't strike me as Beyonce fans. I wouldn't say they're part of the Beehive.
Why not?
They just kind of give me that feel. They kind of give me that feel. Maybe in Brian Kelly a little bit, but I don't know. He's probably worked on some of his accents. He probably knows a little H-Town, little H-Town connection there with Beyonce.
I was about to say I would think he would maybe be the most likely candidate there out of those guys. But I was just curious. I was just wondering what your thoughts would be on that. But we do have some of you who have been weighing in on the courtesy GMC text line. Some of you asking some questions about SEC Media Days, talking Braves, Home Run Derby, All-Star Weekend, MLB Draft, Tahad Pettiford, all that good stuff. We have had a lot to get to today as we are broadcasting live from the College Football Hall of Fame from SEC Media Days. The festivities will kick off here in, what is it, Damian, about an hour and 20 minutes when Greg Sankey takes the podium and officially kicks things off for us. We, of course, will have live coverage all week long for you here on JOX. We appreciate you making us a part of your day each and every morning, and we continue our live coverage from SEC Media Days in Atlanta next on JOX. Oh, Damian, the best Beyonce song of all time. Love
that is something we agree on, my brother.
The best of Queen Bee, here on Morning Jocks. Appreciate you joining us. Conrad, Damien here with you until 7 o'clock. We'll hand you off to McElroy and Kubelik in the morning. So that's your favorite Beyonce song too?
Oh, absolutely. Hands
Tough to beat
down.
that one. That one of my favorite moments, definitely from my wedding, was that song being played by the DJ. Getting to dance to that. That's absolutely an all-timer there. So if you missed it, we were talking about Beyonce this morning because we did not realize that here at the same time as SEC Media Days, there is also Beyonce is doing 4 concerts back to back to back here in Atlanta. And so we all got here thinking, oh, this is going to be great. It's going to, people are going to be, the media is here for SEC Media Days. Nope. Everyone's here for Beyonce, and everybody's wearing cowboy hats. And as Landrum said, some people are wearing jeans that don't have a backside to them. So if that's your thing, then I guess more power to you. I guess I can't talk. I used somebody's toothbrush for a minute last week. So it's like anytime I go and like criticize something or, oh, that's kind of weird. You can just come back with, aren't you the toothbrush guy? It's like, yeah, I guess I can't really say a whole lot about that, unfortunately. But we are here broadcasting live from SEC Media Days, the College Football Hall of Fame. We will be here until Thursday. So appreciate all of you making us a part of your morning here. And if you missed the schedule for today, quickly getting underway here in about an hour and 15 minutes, you'll have Commissioner Sankey kicking things off at 8:05. Brian Kelly of LSU, he's going at 9:25. Shane Beamer of South Carolina at 10:45. Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss at 12:30, and Clark Lee and Vanderbilt, they will be at 2:20. So that's your schedule for today here in Atlanta at SEC Media Days. But let's get to the Courtesy GMC text line, Damien. I know we have a bunch of people who have been chiming in with some of their thoughts and some of their questions for us here in Atlanta. So we have Drake. He chimes in. He says, nice recruiting weekend for my Florida Gators. Absolutely. I know Kevin Ford, somebody that was a 4-star edge rusher that a lot of people thought might land with Alabama. He ultimately picks the Gators late last week, and other nice pickups there for the Gators. So, yeah, Drake, a nice weekend, certainly. Let's see. Jamie chimes in. I'm assuming this is about Todd Pettiford. He says, do you honestly think that the young man wrote the response? I agree that it might be his sentiment, but there's no way he wrote that response. I hope sincerely that he is on this and taking full responsibility, as the statement said again. But pending that statement and meaning the statement is 2 different responsibilities. I have no reason to think that Todd Pettiford did not write that and post that on his Instagram story. I guess if you don't want to believe that he did that, but look, he's a good kid. I've never heard of any problems, anything that's gone on with him. We all make mistakes. Something happens. He owned up to it. Bruce Pearl said they're going to handle it internally. I mean, if you don't like Todd Pettiford, then that's fine. But just so you don't like, I don't know why you would think that he didn't post. And plus, I mean, you go and read it. You didn't get that out of Chat GPT, right? With the abbreviations and the grammatical stuff. He wrote that and posted it. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's like, does it really matter if it's written? Like, that's not where my mind goes when I see somebody apologize for something that they did wrong. Like, I tend to lean on the fact that he feels bad about his mistake and he wants to correct it.
I was about to say, he apologized, and if he makes the mistake again, then we can have that conversation. But I choose, take it by his word. He says he's going to be better, then I think he's going to be better. We'll wait and see. Let's see. Joseph chimes in, says, what are you guys hoping to know today from the teams that will be in attendance? So I think for Brian Kelly, starting off for LSU, I think for me, obviously the season opener is a big one. Want to finally win a season opener, but just kind of the expectations and the pressure on LSU this year, knowing that, his first year he was in Atlanta playing for an SEC championship, and he hasn't been able to get back there. So I think for LSU, it's just kind of how are they going to handle the pressure, and then, Damon, you brought it up earlier, defensively, how are you going to continue to grow on that side of the ball? Because you took some steps last year, but they spent a lot of money in the portal this offseason, so you have to imagine that was a big emphasis for them. I think for South Carolina, right, how do you handle having a target on your back? What is it like now? What is Shane Beamer's demeanor now that there are those expectations and he's not playing the underdog role? Lane is Lane. You're either going to get, some wise-ass comment from him or you're going to get nothing. But I think for him, again, it's just, I'm excited to hear him talk about Austin Simmons because we know how much he loved Jackson Dart. And we remember that one drive against Georgia. It was great, but what is that going to look like over the course of a full season? Then similarly for Vanderbilt and Clark Lee, I think it's just, now that you have a little expectations. I'd also love to get his thoughts on, Diego Pavia being a little outspoken and, the confidence that he kind of carries with him, because I know that rubs some people the wrong way, but I have to imagine as the coach, you love having a guy like that on your side.
Absolutely. And also to to the Clark Lee point, it's the fact that, again, a couple years ago he told you, you laughed at him, Conrad. I remember it specifically. Like, you were you were in there laughing at Clark Lee when he said that, hey, I want to build this program into one of the dominant forces in college football. And now he's got a quarterback that is probably one of the most popular players in college football, and he's at Vanderbilt, of all places. And I agree with you 100% with the LSU, South Carolina, and Ole Miss. Like, we know what we're going to get from Lane. Like, it's going to be something. He'll keep it professional to an extent, but then there'll probably be a question where he wants to have a little fun. And with Brian Kelly, defensively, can you make a stop? And how do you stop the week one losing woes? Mm-hmm. And for Shane Beamer, target is on your back now with South Carolina. What you going to do with it?
Let's see. Someone chiming in here on the text line. They write, okay. So they sent in their projections for the SEC. So they have Alabama 1, Texas 2, Georgia 3, A&M 4, Auburn 5th on how they think that they will finish at the end of the season. He says, don't let Auburn beat Georgia because then they could finish 3rd and Georgia could fall all the way to 6th. And then he adds Roll Tide.
Okay.
That's a very confusing text message. So you think Auburn's going to finish in the top 5 of the SEC, and they might finish in the top 3 if they beat Georgia, and you're an Alabama fan. I respect that if that's your opinion. That's just wasn't expecting a Roll Tide at the end of that text, to be completely honest with you. Let's see. Jamari from Talladega chimes in. He says, I know it's SEC Media Days talk, but have y'all seen Chris Youngblood killing it for OKC in the Summer League? Yeah, he's been doing quite well. Cooper Flagg's been doing well. Janai Broom has been doing really, really well as well there in the Summer League. Somebody chimes in from the state of Arkansas. So hypothetically, Conrad, if Beyonce and Aaron Judge both walked in at the same time, who would I go and talk to? Oh, Aaron Judge. Beyonce who? Yeah, I don't care. Give me Aaron Judge. I think the only person I'd be more excited to see walk through that elevator than Aaron Judge would be Tua, but hopefully he's working on his off-season routine right now. Let's see. Someone chimes in. They say they've been enjoying the new NCAA college football video game, and they say Ty Simpson sucks on the new college football game. He got sacked 11 times this weekend. Just saying.
Well, that's the offensive line's fault. I know Ty.
So we should be worried about Alabama's offensive line because they're not good in the new college football video game?
It's a direct correlation, man. It's a direct correlation.
You might be onto something. You absolutely might. Doug chimes in here. He says the South and the SEC rule the baseball draft every year. He said the SEC led colleges with 13 first-round draft picks. The ACC had 6. All other schools had 3. It says of the 21 high school players selected last night, 12 of them were from like SEC states, southern states, things like that. So that's very cool. As we know, I mean, baseball obviously does quite well here, but very cool to see that. And, if you missed it, Ike Irish from Auburn, he's a Baltimore Oriole now. Riley Quick from Alabama, he's going to be a Minnesota Twin. Steele Hall, the high school phenom from Hewitt-Trussville, he goes top 10 to the Cincinnati Reds. So a lot of good baseball going around. And we are here live in the College Football Hall of Fame from SEC Media Days. We will be here until Thursday bringing you live coverage. Everything gets started 8:05 with Commissioner Sankey, but right now we hand you off to McElroy and Kublick in the morning.